So here's this new show that I started watching. It's called Outer Range. So this show centers around this character here. This character's name is Royal, and I'm just going to speak briefly on the first episode, and then some scenes from some other episodes, just to sort of put it all together. So you are probably familiar with my pattern that I've been recognizing in a number of these shows and movies. And that's how they use the rose, and they use the rose simply to express that it rose from the abyss. And when I say they use the rose, I mean the flower rose, or even the word rose, because there's characters such as in this show here that are named Rose. They just have to include that because it's just part of, this is almost like a package deal. It's how it's being presented to the world. So again, they use rose because rose is the past tense of the verb to rise, and what they're referring to that has risen or rose is the biblical Satan. And I say that because of the continuous usage of the symbolic 1,000 years. So Revelation 20 speaks of the biblical Satan being imprisoned for a symbolic 1,000 years, and that biblical Satan is being imprisoned in the abyss, which is what this is displaying here. This is the center of this entire show here, and it's just a giant hole. The show refers to it as the void. So the void and the abyss are synonymous. So is the bottomless pit. This is the Greek origin of the word abyss. Bottomless pit. So bottomless pit, abyss, and the void are all used synonymously here, and they're being synonymously used to refer to, I'll just refer to it as the abyss, which again is where the biblical Satan, Revelation 20, has been imprisoned for the symbolic 1,000 years, which this is displaying here, and I'm going to show you how it displays that. So here's this character, there's this hole, this character sticks his hand in this hole, and it's sort of it's like this is two separate scenes here, but this is showing sort of one scene. Even though this character isn't shaking a hand in this abyss, this character just sticks their hand in the abyss. Later on, this character meets this character and they shake hands. And because of who this character represents, and it represents that character I know because of the name that is being used, then this is sort of, what's behind the curtain of what this means here, with this character sticking their hand in this hole here. And that would be this handshake. This character was just introduced to this character, so they're shaking hands. So that's symbolizing this connection, this meeting, this bonding. And because of who this character represents by this name here, this is sort of like making a pact or a covenant, or making contact with the biblical Satan. So this character's name is Autumn. So that's significant because autumn is also called fall. So that hints at the fallen angels, which is what the biblical Satan is. Oh, and also, just to, sort of support the Revelation 20, the biblical Satan and the 1,000 years in the abyss being expressed here, after this character puts their hand in the hole here, the abyss, or what this show refers to as the void, this character returns home, and there's a sort of time lapse, and this character discovers, like they make sure to reference it, that it's already 10 a.m. So here I just have 10 a.m. spelled out there, and you could see if it wasn't in time format, if I just put the comma here, then there's your 1,000 years being symbolized. So again, that's all in reference to Revelation 20, or at least that's how I've sort of decoded it here. It's just this ever-continuous pattern that I continue to see on all of these shows and all of these movies, it rising again, it being the biblical Satan, through these characters, and it used to exist in the abyss or the void. So this is a continuation of why this character is named Autumn, and that's to represent the fallen, because autumn is also called fall. I had to move my screen over so I could get these images in there. So here's another character. I live next to the highway, so that's what the noise is. So you either get to hear the cars, or if I go inside, you get to hear the air conditioning unit. So here I am outside. So here's another character from this show. What's this show called? The Outer Range. Yes, The Outer Range. So here's another character from the show The Outer Range, and this character falls into the hole, the void, or the abyss, and time travels to the year 1882, where this character meets this character here, who is in a similar situation, also fell in the hole and traveled, and this character is referred to as falling star. So a falling star is another reference to the fallen angels, and just to further support that, this character, because it time traveled, it has a tattoo on its arm, and that tattoo is a picture of this angel here, which is presented on the Led Zeppelin CD cover. So this is a fallen angel on this character's arm, and this character is referred to as fallen star. So I learned this by this image here. I mean, I've seen this image before. Actually, when I was in Florida, I was at this bar, and this guy sitting next to me was talking about his tattoos, and he had this tattoo on his arm, only he made sure to say that the wings were different. The wings that he had were eagle wings, and that was to honor his father. So the wings on this CD cover here of this fallen angel are swan wings. So that's significant because I'm fairly certain they're just paying homage to the Ugly Duckling story. So this character who time traveled via the abyss or the void has an adopted 3-year-old daughter named Rose. So there's that Rose reference being associated with this show. So that's significant because that is sort of paying homage to the Ugly Duckling story. an adopted 3-year-old daughter, that's synonymous with this duck story, which actually isn't actually a duck, but it's been adopted by ducks. And then it goes through this whole story, being referred to as ugly, until you get to the end of the story, and you find out that this duck isn't actually a duck, it was a young swan. So it's a sort of, transformation story, a transformative story into beauty. So I think it's interesting in this television show here, where this character time travels into, it meets this character in the year 1882, and this character is named Falling Star. I think it's interesting because Falling Star is an angel or a fallen angel, but there's really no difference between this character and then a modern human. So it's like, sometimes I sort of wonder, what actually is an angel? Have I been sort of, conditioned to attribute all this divinity and all that type of association with angels, when in this show they're just people that are existing outside their time. Like I said, this character time travel. Is an angel really just another person from another era or from another time? And that's essentially what just makes them different. And that's sort of presented in a number of shows, which I'm gonna try to continue on that theme and see where it leads.